This is TechCrunch. Chris Fall, the director of the Center for AI Standards and Innovation, has resigned. He was appointed just 3 months ago after the last appointee, Colin Burns, left in less than a week. The Washington Post reported at the time that Burns was reportedly pushed out of the job in April because he previously worked for Anthropic and the Trump administration had been battling with the company. No reason was given for Fall's departure. Prior to leading the center, also called CAISI, Fall was the director of the Department of Energy's Office of Science during the first Trump administration and had been the acting director of the DOE's Advanced Research Projects Agency Energy. He worked in the DOE's Office of Naval Research prior to that. Before Burns and Fall, the agency was led by venture capitalist David Sachs, whose title at the time was White House AI and Crypto Czar. Sachs stepped down in March. CAISI, which operates under the National Institute of Standards and Technology, or NIST, is the primary organization for developing technical standards and testing methods for AI models, as well as assessing cybersecurity risk. Yet, it was not the agency at the center of the most recent model risk brouhaha. Now, that occurred in June when the U.S. Commerce Department invoked an obscure export control directive that effectively forced Anthropic to pull its Mythos and Fable models from the market. The ban was lifted by the end of this month when Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick said he was satisfied with Anthropic's safety plans. Earlier this month, the White House also signed an executive order for a new AI safety oversight program called Gold Eagle that creates a clearinghouse for cybersecurity vulnerability coordination. A host of federal organizations were named as part of the program, including the Commerce Department and Department of Homeland Security. But as CNBC pointed out, CAISI was not among the federal organizations mentioned. Meanwhile, after Anthropic models were freed from the ban, Google DeepMind CEO Demis Hassabis began calling for the creation of an independent, industry-run standards body to regulate frontier AI modeled after FINRA, the same sort of mission that CAISI was formed to tackle. Fall's resignation also follows this weekend's hand-wringing over Chinese AI lab Moonshot's new version of its open model Kimi, which performed competitively against flagship frontier models. The administration was weighing efforts to somehow ban Chinese open models. That's according to Axios reporting. Now, this sparked immediate debate and outrage over the weekend, including from Sachs himself, who argued that regulations should not be used as a protectionism strategy for U.S. proprietary AI labs. While CAISI has released a few reports on the capabilities of Chinese open-weight models, such as Z.AI's GLM 5.2 and DeepSeek V4 Pro, it has not talked much about its processes for testing. Well, Anthropic can finally start cutting some checks to a group of authors and book publishers that sued the AI lab over copyright infringement. A federal judge gave final approval on Monday of Anthropic's landmark $1.5 billion settlement of a class action copyright lawsuit. Judge William Alsop of the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California issued a preliminary approval of the settlement last year after ruling that Anthropic had illegally downloaded and stored millions of copyrighted books. Alsop has since retired, and Judge Araceli Martinez Olguin signed off on the settlement on Monday. The payout will deliver $3,000 per work across an estimated 500,000 works, shared among the authors and publishers who hold rights to them. While the settlement is believed to be the largest in the history of U.S. copyright law, many authors and creators still don't view it as a win. And that's because of how the legal question was resolved. Alsop sided with Anthropic on the core issue. He ruled that training an AI model on copyrighted text counts as fair use, a decision widely seen as a turning point for the AI industry. But the ruling did not excuse how Anthropic obtained the books in the first place. Anthropic had built its training library from two sources: books it purchased and scanned, which is fine, and books it downloaded from pirate sites like Library Genesis and Pirate Library Mirror. Alsop found the second method illegal on its own terms and said that piracy question could go to trial. Anthropic agreed to a settlement soon after to avoid a trial and whatever damages a jury might have awarded. While the final approval closes out this case, it does not settle the legal question industry-wide because Alsop's ruling was a single district court decision, and Anthropic's decision to settle means the case will never reach an appeals court to become binding precedent. Other judges are still free to reach their own conclusions on their own facts, which is exactly what's playing out elsewhere. There is still a string of copyright lawsuits against companies such as Google, Meta, Midjourney, and OpenAI over whether it's legal to train AI models on copyrighted works. Just last week, a group of publishers and authors, including Hachette, Cengage, Elsevier, author Scott Turow, and Scribe, filed a class action lawsuit against Google over acquisitions that the company used their copyrighted works to train its AI platform, Gemini. That's all for now. For the latest in tech news, go to TechCrunch.com.